Hello and welcome to 3.3 Lab 2. This one's a two-parter, so go ahead and open it up in Visual Studio on your browser, fill in the student section, and let's dive in. Now for this first part, it's a little different in that we want to go through and we want to take a look at each one of these, and I'm going to step right through it with you so that we can see whether these are true or false. Right now in our output we have true/false there. We need to decide whether they are true or false and find the code and remove that. We're not actually going to code these. Now I'm going to code them so that you can see and I can prove to you whether it's true or false or not when we actually do this. But I'm going to go through each one so we can look at it piece by piece because some of them can be a little tricky. So the first one, 5 less than 5, is that true or false? Well, that hopefully is pretty easy. 5 less than 5 is false because 5 is equal to 5. So let's go ahead and refresh here. Okay, 10 is greater than 100, or 100 is greater than 10, I should say. That should be fairly straightforward. That is true. So let's put that in there. And then we have the word 10 less than the word 12. True or false? Now, this one I'm going to code because I want you to understand how this works when we are doing relational operators with strings. So if I go to my code here, I'm going to put in another line down here, and I'm going to say document.write. Say the word 10 less than the word 12. And I'm going to put a break right above that just so we have it on its own line there. So I put that in there so we can see whether it comes true or false. So let me refresh here. It is true. 10 is less than 12. Now some of you may be thinking, well, of course it's true. The number 10 is less than 12. 12 is higher than 10. But in this case, remember what we're looking at. We're looking at the string of 10 is less than 12. Here's the way I try to imagine it in my mind. I'm a visual learner, so if you are, this may help you. I picture in my mind the alphabet going left to right from A to all the way through Z. Where these numbers land, if they land closer to my left, they're less than. Closer to the right, they're right than. So the word 10 is less than the word 12 because it's closer to the left than 12 is. And 12 is greater than 10 because it's closer to the right than 10 is alphabetically because TE comes before TW. Now, let's look at this next one here. Go ahead and remove that there, because this next one may illustrate that a little more. In this case, we're going to do 10 and 11. Okay, so let me refresh. So is 10 less than 11? Okay, true or false? Well, numerically true. Alphabetically false, because E comes before T in the alphabet. So left to right, E11 is less than T10 false. So this one is actually false. Refresh my screen here. Then we have 100 is less than or equal to 101. That is true because 100, while it's not equal to 101, it is less than. So that's going to return true. Then the number 2 is less than, or the string of 2 is less than or equal to the number 5. So this one, let's also look at this one and code it so you can see how this is going to work. So true. Now, I want to explain how this worked because we have a string of 2. What the JavaScript interpreter did underneath the covers is it said, okay, you have a string of 2, but I also know that the string of 2 also is a number of 2, and you're comparing it to a number. So it made the type conversion for us and converted it to a number and returned true because 2 is less than 5. And 1997 greater than or equal to 1997 should return true because 1997 is equal to 1997. Those out of there. Now, I do want to do one more little test for you here. Let's take the word apple and apple. The only difference between these two is one is uppercase, one is lowercase. So here we're going to compare the lowercase word apple to the uppercase word apple and see if it's less than. Let's take a look at that and see what happens. That returns false. If I change the operator to greater than, it should return true, and it is true. Now, here's why this works. Apple is greater than, the lowercase greater than the uppercase apple. The reason why is because, remember I told you in your head you could think of alphabet from left to right? If you throw in uppercase and lowercase, uppercase always comes before lowercase. So uppercase A is less than lowercase a. So lowercase a is greater than uppercase a because it goes upper, lower, upper, lower. So uppercase A, lowercase a. Uppercase B, lowercase b, all the way through the alphabet until you get uppercase Z, lowercase z. So if you're comparing in using relational operators strings to strings, sometimes you may have to do some case conversion. And just as a side note, let me just tell you, there is a way that you can do that. So let's say you have a variable coming from the end user and you're prompting them for that, and you're going to compare. Let's say you have, let me just create some space in here so we can see what we're working with. So let's have that equal to apples. And then I have a var, say user var, and I'm prompting, please enter the word apples. Now, there's nothing stopping my end user, and if I'm doing another comparison here where first bar is less than or greater than user var, or what, maybe I'll be doing it equals or whatever. I'm doing some sort of comparison. There's nothing stopping my end user from typing in capital A P P L E S. Nothing stopping them at all. In that case, if they do that, it's no longer a, pardon the pun, apples to apples comparison. It's a lowercase apples to uppercase apples comparison. We have a problem. So what we can do is similar to a conversion like a number. We can do something similar to that, where we go user var dot to lowercase. And so now, let me just document right out user var, just so we can see how this is going to work. And actually, I'm going to comment that out first so we can see it before and after. Do I have an error here? Oh, yep. I forgot to make that a string. Sorry. See, that inspector comes in handy. Okay, enter the word apples. So if I put in A-P-P-L-E-S, here we've got apples right here. Sorry, let me put a break in there so we can see that easier. Now, if I do APPLES with a capital A, I get capital apples. But if I use this to lowercase, there's also a to uppercase, just in case you're wondering. What it will do is it will convert everything to lowercase apples. So even if I do something silly like this, APPLES, it'll still convert it to lowercase. So that's just a side note for you that might help you out if you're comparing strings and having some goofiness happen. Just thought I'd point that out for you. Now, that was part one, just to talk about the comparisons. Let's look at part two here. Let me go ahead and refresh my screen because I got rid of the Apple stuff. Part two, we have a variables section. We don't need an assignment section because we're going to do that in the calculations, and an output section. And we're going to be doing some Booleans. So the first thing in our variables section, we have 8 variables we got to create. And then in our assignment calculation sections where we're going to assign the values. So let me scroll down to part 2 here. So we have our results 1 through 8 variables. And then in our calculation section, let me switch back and talk about what we're going to do. We're going to use this comparison to assign true or false to each variable based on what the calculation comes out to be. So you need to replace the question marks with the appropriate relational operator, greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to have it come out to be true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, so that when the calculation actually occurs in your results section, it's going to go just like I have down here, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false. So, and I've got an example there of how you do that. But let's go and let's take a look at this. We want 5 and 5 to be true, and then 5 and 5 to be false. So if we want it to be true, we can do greater than or equal to. That'll be true. Just greater than will be false. And if I could scroll down a little bit, we see the first 2 are true and false in my output. I just did document rights for them, as you can see down here. Document right line, and then put the string in there, and then the actual results of those 2. So let's look at the next one. We want the string of A and the string of B to come out to be true. And so what I did was I did a less than, because lowercase a is further left on the alphabet than lowercase b. So if we cut, that will be true. 11 and 99, we want to come out false the way I did it. And you can maybe do these a little differently and come up with similar results. I did 11 is greater than 99, which we know returns false. And then the string of 100, comparing to the integer of 100, we want that to be true. So I did greater than or equal to 100. And then false for 0 and 10, I did 0 is greater than 10. And then for the string of 100 and string of 99, remember JavaScript interpreter does our conversion for us. So I did 100 is less than 99, and that comes out true, although I didn't do it correctly in my output. So let me change that there and refresh. I typed the wrong operator in my actual document write statement. And then A and 92, this one's kind of a quirky one. You may think, well, what in the world are we doing there? Here I have A is greater than 92, and it came out false. If I have A is less than 92, that's also going to come out. Let me scroll down here. Come out to be false. If I do less than equal to, that is also going to come out false. And if I do greater than equal to, that should come out to be false. It's going to be false on all counts. The reason why is you're trying to compare that JavaScript interpreter doesn't know what you're trying to do there. It's always going to come out to be false because it's thinking, hey, you're comparing a string with a number. I don't know how to compare 80 and 92. Doesn't make any sense. So it's always going to return false for that. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks and happy coding.